This weekend on the original Rochester Press Box.
I'm Kevin Oklobzija from the Democrat Chronicle, and whether you know this or not, if you go to a baseball game, should not be allowed to sit in the open seating. You need protection.
And I'm John DiTullio. I want to issue an apology to all Bills fans.
Wow, I'm Mike Catalana, and I don't do this often, but I was wrong.
And I'm Bill Pucko, looking forward to the Tom Brady trial. Join us this weekend on the original Rochester Press Box. Hey everyone, welcome into the original Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, joined by John DiTullio from Fox 1280 Sports.
Billy, great to be with you in a great suit.
You look good. Co-host Mike Catalana.
Good to be back.
And Kevin Oklobzija joins us from the Democrat Chronicle this year for the first time. It's the first time, as far as I know, anyone has done the beat writing for both the Red Wings and the Amerks. You've been put into a unique situation where you get to, day by day, the two cornerstone franchises here in Rochester. What strikes you about the way the Red Wings and the Amerks do business? Is how they're similar and how they're maybe a little different?
They're different in that the Wings definitely need to connect with the community. And not that the Amerks don't, but the Wings are, it's 70 games a year and hope it doesn't rain, and it's a night at the ballpark to have fun. And the Amerks, I think the Wings can have a decent year. It won't be a great year at the box office, but they'll have a decent year regardless of what happens on the field. The Amerks need a winning product. It's tough to draw people in January and February on a 0-degree night and the snow is blowing if the team's not good. And they got a ways to go to rebuild because they're not what they were in the 80s and 90s and may never will be again. It's maybe not possible to ever have that back.
Is that absolutely attached to the record, the success that those teams had back there, or were there other forces?
Players were here longer. You knew who they were. Same with the Wings, but it's definitely not that way in baseball, and it hasn't been for a long time, where somebody would stay in the same city 4, 5, 6 years. That's gone. And minor league teams can't sign their own players anymore, so it's all up to the parent team, and the parent team is going to move. They're going to shuffle the roster. It's the same thing as happening in hockey, where, again, you don't have a Chris Taylor here for 6 years. You don't have Jody Gage here playing 10 years, 12 years. You don't have Jim Jackson. Guys that were in the community, lived here year-round, and were people could identify with, and it's gone. So now you better have a good product because the recognition and the identity of the players is gone.
Yeah, Mike, when you and I came to town, They were the only two games in town.
Yeah, and the thing was, we always thought the Amerks were either gone to the finals or had a shot to go to the finals. And, what is it, a decade now without advancing into the playoffs? I think hiring Randy Cunneyworth was a great first move. He's a guy that everybody knows, any hockey fan certainly knows. He'll be identifiable for the franchise. But in terms of the guys on the ice, even the big prospects, they're probably only going to be here for a limited amount of time.
Hey, listen, the Red Wings' job is to entertain at the ballpark. Gone are the days people keeping box score. Let me see that person. So I don't think they really care.
There's actually there are.
Under the age of 55.
And I was just going to say, I don't see too many younger people doing that.
Their job is to entertain. I take my family there. If they lose, win, I don't care. The Amerks' success is entertaining, but as Kevin mentioned, they've got to win. Everybody brings up the fact they haven't won a playoff series in how long? 10 years?
10 years.
10 years.
2005.
That's all we hear about. When's the last time the Red Wings won a playoff series?
Whew. It's 97, right?
They went to, it's been what, since Stan Clyburn was here? How many
97,
years
they
ago?
won the Governor's Cup. Oh, you're right, they made it to the finals.
2006.
Yeah, they made
so
it
it's
to the
been
finals.
9 years. We hear nothing about that. All we hear about is maybe the Twins don't send us a bone or two by sending us their top prospects. It's all about the experience at Frontier.
Again, I just think a night at the ballpark in July, it's a fun place to be. It's something to do, and I think the product, the result on the scoreboard doesn't matter as much as it does going to an Amerks game. I would like to stand outside the gate some night and ask every third fan what was the score as they leave. And I bet 30%, 40% would not know the final score.
I bet it's higher than that.
It may be.
But they would know the hockey scores. The Tom Brady case is going to trial soon. We'll talk about that next in the original Rochester Press Box. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. Johnny, the Brady case, deflategate's going to trial. Do you think it's going to make it, first of all? And if it does, are you looking forward to what's going to happen?
Oh, well, listen, if you watch a lot of mob movies, they always say no body, no crime. Well, in this thing with Brady, no evidence. I don't know how he doesn't get this thing reduced or completely thrown out. If that phone had everything that was going to indict him and that's no longer here, I don't see how any arbitrator, any kind of judge is going to side with the commissioner on this and uphold the 4-game suspension. I just don't see how it's going to happen. I think both sides are to blame. This thing is ridiculous how we got this far. But I think Brady's looking at some suspension, but I don't think he's looking at a 4-gamer.
There's a lot going on here, isn't there?
Goodell has done so poorly handling this. It makes me almost want to root for Brady and hope it gets eliminated.
One with Mike.
Because I think Brady did some things wrong, and I wish he would have stopped this whole thing in its tracks in the beginning and just said, this is what I did. I wasn't trying to break the rules. I didn't tell the guys to break the rules. If it went over, that wasn't intentional. Blame me. I think he would have gotten a fine. I think it would have been over. I think it would have been the end of it. He didn't do that. Fine. But Goodell, at every step, I think he's handled this poorly. I know he's made a lot of money for the NFL, but in every other way, he's an awful commissioner. Terrible. He has no idea how to handle punishment. He's, the sledgehammer on the fly, like whatever it is, and then other things he lets go. I think whatever he touches that way is anything that's not financial for the league, whatever else he touches, I think is a disaster.
But I think the owners are sitting back going, as they count their money, saying, we'll get over it. But look at the money I got.
But I don't think this is good for the league. I mean,
it's not, but does it matter?
I know, but why pick a fight, this kind of fight with Brady? I just, that part, like they went at it this way.
And
didn't Robert Kraft, though, come out and say, we accept the blame, we accept the punishment?
Because he was trying to get him to basically say, I'll take the heat, fine me, take the pick, leave Brady alone. And they didn't do that.
And if the commissioner handled this, if he renders the penalty only to keep a few owners happy, if he did not do the right thing only to please some other NFL owners who wanted to make sure he came down on the Patriots, then he should resign. Or, you know what, enough's enough. He did not put the league, he did not put the shield, right? He did not put it first. He did what the owners wanted him to do, and that was to come down hard on Robert Kraft and Tom Brady.
And at some point, Kraft's getting him back.
Somehow.
At some point, when he's gone, Kraft will be with a little smile on his face.
I thought that was interesting that the first thing that the court said is that they we don't want it. Settle us, will you? Get it out of court. We don't want it.
Good for them. I mean, there are much more important things for the courts to worry about than a football that may or may not have been underinflated, and the sports should handle it. I mean, just get it.
It's all the other issues though that'll come out with the when you get the whole idea that you're in a court setting, hand on the Bible. Some of the stuff they ask you a question, you've got to answer it. That could be interesting.
I'm with Kevin. I hate when the law gets involved. I always wanted sports to police themselves, and we haven't seen that. Congress had to get involved in baseball to clean up that sport. And now in this case, a judge, an independent arbitrator is going to get involved to clean up a mess that could have been probably stopped or at least avoided months ago.
Like it or not, when we continue. Hi everyone, I'm Bill Pucko. Classy Wolf Media is proud to be in its 5th year contributing quality local sports programming to the Rochester area on local network television. The Vision High School Sports Beat and Rochester Press Box are making real contributions to the Rochester sports scene and offer unique and affordable sponsorship opportunities. To become part of this vibrant community, contact the Chuck Hinkle Agency at 690-8547 for more information. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by the Hillside family of agencies. We call it Like It or Not. Mike, I'll go to you first. Everybody's favorite guy, like him or not, Tyrod Taylor.
I like him. Seems like a nice guy. The biggest reason people like him is because he hasn't failed yet. He's been a backup. He's an athletic kid, smart kid, can chuck the ball down the field. He had a pass on Wednesday, 65 yards. He can scramble around. He can make a few plays. he can be exciting, especially when you're watching EJ skip passes, you're watching Castle throw. I don't know what he's doing out there. It's more like you're saying, hey, how about Tyrod Taylor? It reminds me a little bit, and I'll go back to my Eagles days only because it was Buddy Ryan as the coach. Now, he's not Randall Cunningham. Don't confuse this here. Yeah. But Buddy used to say to Randall, we'll handle the defense. You just go out there and make a few plays. I almost think that Rex could get to the point if he picks Tyrod Taylor that says, we'll handle the defense. You go out there and make a few plays. It doesn't work that way in the NFL anymore, but when your other choices are EJ and Castle.
It's bad.
It's bad. It's as bad as I've ever seen it for the Bills at the moment. Now, that could change, but at the moment it's bad. So I like Tyrod because I don't dislike him
Egos
at the
could
moment.
boil over here when you've got Sammy Watkins, healthy, star, Percy Harvin, Charles Clay,
Robert Woods.
Robert Woods. McCoy will be happy because he's going to get fed the ball 20 to 30 times a game.
But what he's not going to be happy about is when 9 guys in the box.
Yes.
Yeah.
This thing could boil over. It's going two ways. When they solve their problem, everybody's happy, or it goes the other way, where they're pointing the finger saying, get somebody in here who can pull the trigger.
It sounds become like it's a singular issue, having everybody here. It's like everyone's paying attention to every pass they throw in practice. It's really something different, isn't it, Kev?
I'm glad I'm not there. Nothing has ever happened in an NFL training camp, and nothing ever will.
Could you compare this to anything in your experience?
Wait a minute.
Actually, Doug Flutie got hurt once.
Wait a minute. This is a guy who watches hockey practice.
They scrimmage. They do things. Ooh, what happened at the Bills today? Well, let's see. They didn't have pads. They didn't tackle. They were 7-on-7, but boy, they looked great. Because you know why? They were against each other.
How much do they hit in hockey practice?
Very limited.
Right. Okay.
But still, it's the action of a game.
Training camp is still just practice. But there are moments. It's those competitive moments.
Yeah. Here's what I like. Here's the best thing about it. There's a long pass, and it's 60 yards, and the receiver catches it, and the crowd goes crazy because your D-back just got burned.
Kevin,
why do they cheer for only the offense?
When you were at the, when you watch
maybe because it never happened. So
a Sabres inter-squad scrimmage and they score a goal, don't the fans cheer?
Yeah.
Exactly. But the same thing. Why? Why is the defense always the one that nobody pays attention to?
Like it or not, the new playoff contenders after the trading deadline of the major leagues.
Toronto, holy cow, they know they play the Yankees 13 times. In those games right there, they are back in the race and could jump to first place. Are they going to win 13? No. Are they going to win 10? Probably not, because the Yankees are hitting the ball right now too. But they improved greatly, and they've made a statement for next year as well that they want to be a real team. They're going to contend. Now, you'd think at some point some of those guys would get hurt. As Bert Blyleven once said in explaining why somebody wasn't on, I can't remember the player, but it was 2 or 3 years ago on a Twins broadcast. The player was now with I don't know if he was with the Angels or Texas, but it came up, well, why is he not with Toronto anymore? And Bert says, he doesn't swing hard enough. Those guys swing the bat as hard as you can every time at the plate. That must be their hitting approach.
Subway Series guys?
Potentially. I mean, why not? I almost want to think the Mets because of their starting pitching. I love what they've done adding Cespedes.
Subway Series? In what playoff?
Well, listen,
they're
the Mets,
both in first place.
They are not going past the Royals.
Well,
that bullpen is too dominant for
the
KC.
Yankees bullpen may be their strength too. But I will say this: I like the Mets ahead of the Yankees only because if they go to a series and you're going to throw out Harvey, DeGrom, and Syndergaard, they're tough to beat. They're tough to beat in a 7-game series. The Mets. We'll see.
What do you think?
I think the Mets are a potentially dangerous team going forward, and Cespedes is going to really add a lot to them. Because they so desperately needed a bat. And the Nationals are that team that's going to just seems to me to be that one that just was almost there all the time.
The Tigers.
Not a great clubhouse.
Yep, I agree.
They added Papelbon. Good. He should be there. And I think that's going to cause them issues. And I think if the Mets get in, I think they could be dangerous.
Just quickly, Kevin, what's the problem with Cespedes? 4 teams in less than 2 years? Is there something wrong with him?
I just think he's a guy you want. I mean, he's maybe isn't the foundation of your team, but at this time of year, he gives you power and a great arm, so why not get him? And he's making a lot of money, and nobody wants to keep the deal that he's on, so he kind of moves about, I guess, because he can help you in the short term. Do you want to pay him in the long term with what he's getting paid? I don't know.
Let's get suspicious of a guy who jumps around like that. This segment of the Rochester Press Box brought to you by the Hillside Family of Agencies. Thank you over there. Unfinished Business is next. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. We'd like to welcome in the Genesee Brew House, which will join us as a title sponsor come September officially, and we'll be doing our first show of the new year over at that place on Cataract Street. It's a great joint. We invite you to check it out, and again, we thank those guys at Genesee Brew House for joining the original Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business, Johnny.
You know, a phrase I've always used in describing Bills fans, they have quarterback goggles, which means any quarterback that's available looks good to them. I mean, look at Tyrod Taylor. People are calling for him to start. All of a sudden, he's the next Warren Moon. But I was thinking, I really can't blame the Bills fan. All they've ever wanted was a guy, not a franchise guy. They just wanted a guy. They really haven't had a guy under center, really, since the last quality year a quarterback has put forth for the Buffalo Bills. Stay with me here. Drew Bledsoe, 2002. 24 touchdowns, 15 picks, had a passing percentage of just under 62%. Gave you some moments in 04. If you take out what Trent Edwards did in 08, he gave you about 4 good starts. Ryan Fitzpatrick gave you about 7 good starts in 2011. It's been pretty desolate in terms of having a quality franchise quarterback. Consider this, 13 quarterbacks last year threw 25 touchdown passes or more. You know the last time the Bills quarterback threw 25 touchdown passes in a single season? 24 years ago. His name was Jim Kelly, the year 1991. I can't blame Bills fans for just having goggles. He's our guy, he's our guy. They're so desperate. They're so desperate to not have a franchise guy, just have a guy. 24 years in the way the league has been evolving, a passing game, and they can't get a guy to throw 25 touchdown passes in a single season.
Not even just that, but as you said, I mean, the consensus is the Bills' quarterback situation is the worst.
If it's not the worst, it's down right towards the bottom. And the rest of the roster is so talented now. Yep. Offensive line, maybe coming around, but the rest of it, skill position, defense, special teams, everything is good. And I've never seen a year where 1, 2, and 3 in camp. We have no idea who's going to be the 1, the 2, or the 3.
It's awful.
Any of the guys could start. Any of them could be the backup. Any of them could be released going into the season.
I've never seen a team that has 1, 2, 3 that on most other teams would be 7, 8, and 9.
Well,
and they only carry
here's
5
a goggle moment.
for camp and 4. You know,
here's a goggle moment. 2:30 in the morning. Josh McCown will look really good on this team. Right?
Well, I said
now that's a goggle moment.
Hey,
Josh
also,
McCown.
I said to you guys, Sanchez obviously would be the starter on this team. It wouldn't even be close,
right?
He would earn the starting job right now. From what we've seen in camp so far, he would easily have earned the job.
Looks like Joe
as the
Namath,
starter.
Sam Bradford,
Tim Tebow.
Easily. Oh, no.
He's going to start.
Good time to bring that up.
That's Mike's boy.
Kevin, change the subject.
Yes.
All right, so here I look at ballpark. You go to Frontier Field, and there's been several incidents of bats breaking or the entire bat flying into the stands, and certainly line drives. You have no time to react if you're sitting somewhere unprotected. But the first thing that jumps out at me when I look at Frontier Field and Major League stadiums, where do you have netting besides behind the plate? The only other place, in front of the dugout. These are people who play the game for a living, who have been in the game forever. They're protected. They're supposed to be paying attention to every pitch there is, everything going on, and yet the people right above them, or maybe even to the side of them, if that's the plate side, who are closer, are unprotected. Why is that? It makes no sense. Sadly, a girl who was 13 years old was killed after she was hit by a puck in Columbus in 2002. The NHL reacted right away, extended the netting all the way up behind both goals. Baseball apparently is going to wait until there is some tragedy. They've already had a very serious injury at Fenway. People are hit by balls all the time, and it sure looks like they're just waiting for the worst thing to happen before they have to do anything.
Baseball, and I'm going to apologize to John and all Yankee fans. I sat here at the beginning of the season saying I didn't like that roster. I didn't like that lineup. I thought they looked like a team that was going to struggle all year long. They're actually fun to watch. I mean, they score a ton of runs. Their pitching isn't great. It's a big concern going forward. I do think this is a team still built for the regular season because they've come through. Teixeira has been amazing. I know I said last week, I still don't know if A-Rod is clean. I don't care how many times they test him. The guy has a history. But, even Brian McCann coming up with clutch hits and doing it for him. Ian John's buddy Didi is hitting the ball for them. They are doing a lot. They are actually enjoyable to watch. They are the best team in the American League East. Toronto may give them a run down the stretch. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they'd get this year out of any of these guys, let alone all of them. I think the Yankees are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. We'd like to thank the Hillside family of agencies participating in the show, also the Genesee Brew House. And John?
Billy, I thought today's show was epic.
Excellent.
Great job on your part.
Yep, Mike,
Really
thanks for
good
finishing
job.
up with the
Thanks.
Yankees. Leave that good taste in the mouth. Kevin Oklobzija, pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on the original Rochester Press Box.